right. Hello everyone. How you guys doing? We are here live in beautiful San Francisco, as you can see, right in our background here. This is our very first, couple hours of our XD stream, all about UI, UX, and all that fun stuff. My name's Paul Trani, as it says right below here. Actually, it doesn't, but it does sometimes on TV. So that's and I'm here with Matt
Hello.
D. Smith.
What's going on?
Yeah, so it's good to have you here, man. We actually have a full day. Just kind of some housekeeping stuff, guys, real fast. Obviously, you're probably on adobelive.com, so we appreciate having you guys here. Daniela, Hassan, Ronaldo, Eugene, what's up? Good to see you guys. You guys can see that tab. There's obviously chat that you're viewing. There's that tab next to it, which is the UX schedule. So that's what's going on. You can obviously see that we have Matt for a couple hours this morning. So we have some cool things planned around prototyping and lots of stuff going on over here. Amelie is coming on at 11 a.m. Amelie Lamont, and she'll be here actually till about 1. Talon Wadsworth doing some UX design as well. So he's an Adobe employee. Actually does a lot of the design thinking around Adobe XD. So it's cool that he's going to be. We'll probably try to pry information out of him. That's what we like to do with some of the guys that we bring in internally. We're like, okay, what do you know that you could maybe share with us? And then we have some guys from right down here, Digital Telepathy, that will be also, sharing some cool stuff. They're from San Diego, so it'll be super fun. I think we're going to have a cool day. And we got this guy over here, actually. Michael Shays is actually running the controls, and you could always ping him if you need anything, obviously. The man, he's like the Wizard of Oz, the guy behind the curtain, making sure everything's
we lost his curtain.
Yeah, but we lost the curtain. It's more like a green curtain right now. So, and I like seeing this, actually, where everybody's from. Nigeria.
Romania, South Africa, Cape Town.
So is this your first time live streaming?
This is my first time live streaming.
This is good. All right. Very first time. So this will be fun. So go easy on them. Be nice. Or whatever. But yes, be nice. Portugal, Sweden, Connecticut. Awesome. Cool, guys. Good to see you here. All right, I guess we're going to get this party started. We have a lot going on. We have notes here. What's our plan today? What do you think, man?
All right, so today we're going to kind of dig into a UX project. We're going to look at like a fictitious sandwich company that's come to us to design an iOS application for them. And I've got a little bit of a brief, a little bit of some requirements and some flows, and we'll kind of dig into what goes into starting a project like this.
Very fun. Yeah, awesome. That sounds good. And it looks like it says what? San Francisco? Is it going to be San Francisco based?
We're going to be, for now, the company is called San Franwich Co. So if you have any other ideas for a fictitious sandwich name based in San Francisco, let me know. Working title right now is San Franwich Co.
We should check that URL.
That's
the first thing I think of when I think of a business name. I'm like, is that URL available?
Somebody go register that.
Although I would like to have a sandwich shop in Turkey, and it could be a turkey sandwich.
That would work
and
too.
then they think you only sell one thing there, so maybe that won't work. It's so fun seeing where everybody's from, by the way. North Africa, Macedonia, all
cool.
over the place, and that's what I love about
someone from
live.
Mars Colony. I mean,
Mars Colony?
Can't beat that.
Oh, wow. But isn't this cool? Namibia? That's awesome. To be live with these people. I'm not sure what time it is. In Greece right now, it's probably afternoon. It's probably afternoon.
Probably.
Anyways, awesome. Hey, Felipe? Just say XD for Windows, please. I don't know. Maybe we can help you out right now with that, because it just so happens we've launched XD on Windows, and that's what we have. Sound effects.
Windows.
So yes, it is just live today. If you go, you can under apps. You'll see right here, actually, it will say the apps that you need to update. You can see I've already updated mine, but that's all you need to do. Is you click update. If you're on Windows or Mac, it will be listed there. So that's pretty fantastic. Cool. So speaking of getting your hands on Adobe XD, okay, get your hands on it because it's awesome. And then we encourage you to actually make something, build something with it. So we actually have a little contest going today, and we'll just show you what that's all about right now. Welcome, and this is your chance to create a prototype for a chance to win a 1-year Creative Cloud membership. To enter, create a prototype using Adobe XD, and the theme is solving the problem of holiday planning. So maybe it's a present tracker or just tracking various holidays throughout the year. It's really up to you. Just submit the prototype to Twitter using the hashtag Adobe Live. We're going to be watching that hashtag. We'll be reviewing these live and picking winners. So we look forward to seeing what you create. All right, fantastic. Sorry for that annoying voice, but in general, yes, we're encouraging you to use Adobe XD, create a quick prototype or a very extensive prototype for your chance to win Creative Cloud. So within the interface, by the way, if you click on that third tab, it says Contest, and those are just the simple rules. Essentially, create something, again, now on Mac or Windows, and then post to Twitter. Just use that hashtag Adobe Live just to get it to us. Okay, so you could post it on, Behance, Twitter, whatever it takes to get the idea across, and we can go through the different ways of sharing, whether it's just a screen versus a link. Ideally, a link would be easiest, and I'm sure we'll get Matt to kind of go through that as well. So yeah, it should be fun. And if you guys have any question, how long is this contest? Contest is over the course of these 3 days, throughout the day, probably like later today, because obviously you need time to build something. And again, the idea is it's all around holiday planning. So we want you to just put something together. Maybe it's like a gift guide or scheduling, could be anything, but holiday planning is the theme. Okay, so we'll give you today, obviously the next 3 days.
What's up, Daniel? I'll see you there.
Yeah, see, that's good.
That's right.
Okay.
All right.
Let's start.
Let's do this. You got some sketching going on.
All right,
there, huh?
yeah, let's get started.
Imagine that. Look at
All
that.
right, so I didn't want to do too much work up front because I wanted to give you a good look at what would actually go into the very beginning, very kind of grassroots of a project that does not exist. So you'll have to excuse my chicken scratch here. So we've got Sanford Witch Co. They've come to us. They're a super fast custom delivery company. A super fast custom sandwich delivery company. And they want to build an iOS app to allow customers to create sandwiches and to have them delivered. So the basic requirements here, we need to build a sandwich. We need to have it delivered. We need to track the progress of the delivery. We want to support multiple orders, repeat orders, and we need to let people pay. And it needs to be fast. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's important to realize that first, when you get started, the problem is not, okay, how do I design an app? The problem is really, how can I help this company achieve their goal? And what you're really doing is you're helping someone not be hungry anymore. You're helping someone get a sandwich from someone's hands to someone's mouth. That's what you're solving. And the interface is a small piece of that. So if you can think of point A to point B and keep that in mind while you're designing, it's gonna help out a lot.
Yeah, it's good. Like all about their objectives at the end of the day. So that's good.
Yes.
And do you ever take into consideration obviously the competition and other maybe companies that how they've executed on?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely researching companies that are already doing this well and competitors is definitely a big part of it. I would rarely start a design out of the gate. I would probably spend a good week, maybe even 2, just taking notes, asking questions, having
Sorry.
There we go.
Hold on.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
We're just making sure you're paying attention.
That's a usability.
Come on.
That's all about usability.
Guys,
right
pay
there.
attention.
It's right where you're supposed to put where you feel like you put your hand is where the exit.
There you go.
Setup button is.
So yeah, digging into competitors, kind of figuring out, what does an iOS app even make sense for a company like this? Should it be a web app? We're going to work under a couple of assumptions today that they really want an iOS app because, that's just the reason, that's what they want to do. So we have to, if we don't know for sure, if we haven't talked to the users, we haven't talked to the business, we need to work under a lot of assumptions. And we just need to make sure that we understand that they are assumptions that we're working under as we get started.
Ooh, I like what you're doing here, even with kind of sketching out like an icon.
Yeah.
SFW Co. I mean, that's just cool. I mean, it's like, and we've talked about this already, but isn't your background, design? Is it graphic design?
Yes, background is a graphic design. Over a decade ago, went to graphic design school and started off as an illustrator, got into fine art, and moved into the web and digital design, and now it's transitioned a good bit into UX and UI, but still an artist at heart.
Yeah, and what is your website in case people want to kind of find out more about you?
My website is mds.is. mds.is.
I will type it in the chat.
Yes, that's awesome. And so what I think is cool about your website is you recently spoke at Max.
I did.
Our Adobe Max conference, which was end of October, beginning of November in San Diego, and you had like 4 different workshops or something like that.
Yeah, the schedule was a little crazy. Had a pre-conference lab helping some Adobe guys run an XD lab, and then the next 3 days were filled with some Illustrator labs, designing icons and whatnot. So action-packed week.
And on your site, you can download those resources. I saw,
That's
which I think is really cool.
Yes,
so I mean, that's a good starting point, and even even if you can just kind of even go into your screen here, I think it's cool right here. It's like obviously different blank templates, but explore the basics. You can begin that tutorial. And so in terms of like not starting from a blank scary page, this is kind of a good resource.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so kind
Definitely.
of picking things from there.
Yeah, so you can get in here and follow the directions just to get started with your very first prototype. Preview designs kind of gives you some tips on how to work on checking some different things out.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. And so again, and you can do sort of your whatever file new, if you will, and you'll have that's cool. Yeah, actually run that. Do you mind?
No, not at all.
I think yeah.
Go back here. Just a couple of quick previews, and then you can kind of create a splash screen, pick a profile image, all that good stuff.
And Felipe, to answer your question, we do have XD for Windows. John just launched it today, guys. All from your feedback.
Windows 10.
Windows 10, yeah, exactly. And again, there's it's what's the question there?
Somebody's asking for a horse sandwich delivery.
Horse sandwich.
That's a good one.
You mean sandwiches for horses?
That's to be
I hope
determined.
that's what you mean.
I hope so.
Sandwiches need horses, or horses need sandwiches too.
And also we will get Tallinn from the XD team live with us.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we could really I like prying information out of him. It's like, okay, what are you working on right now? Tell us, when is this coming? I want this. I want my specific feature that will only help me out. But as you know, like even if you just go up to help up at the top.
All right. Okay.
And then if we go to provide feedback?
Yeah, that's user voice.
Yeah, user voice. So this is just a good way to kind of like, if you see something that you want, somebody mentioned about missing a feature in Windows or whatever, you can kind of see where the features are at, and you can request one, and then we'll just like make it right away. Just kidding. Well, we vote them up, and then this kind of helps us prioritize things. So again.
Yep,
And you can see you're really involved in this. Like that's just so you know how Matt is sitting right here, right now. It's like, yes, you have, a decade of experience as a designer. You went to art. Did you go to art school? You got a graphic design degree.
Graphic design degree.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you've gotten involved in, sort of the betas and pre-releases and all this and that. So
back in the Project Comet days.
Project Comet. Mm-hmm. It's a good quiz question, although it's not that hard. So Photoshop to Adobe XD, we'll talk about that, but it's Matt's time. I think that's a good reference. There's a couple things that we can show them how to do as we get more into the designing. But as you said today, we're gonna kind of flesh out a wireframe or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna get started on some of these sketches, some of these flows, kind of with working under certain assumptions, and how you would kind of start to lay out kind of some low fidelity designs just to blister through some quick prototypes and to kind of flesh out some functionality.
But it's not going to take Lena. It's not going to take 7 hours. We only have Matt for about another hour and a half, so we need to kind of get to working. Actually, we're going to have other people up. Let's get some action going.
Right,
so do your thing.
Let's get started here. All right. So Sandwich Company. So I'm gonna kind of change. I'm gonna put some of this stuff kind of on my screen so you can kind of get a look at some notes here. I've got a simple little text editor here that I'm gonna just get started on writing some notes. You know, I think it's always helpful to just soak up as much information as you can and to fully kind of understand the problem and just kind of make a lot of notes, ask a lot of questions. And, you know, that's a huge part of my starting design process. So it's maybe not quite as fun to watch, but just kind of out of the gate, it's a good way to get started. So we have Sandwich Company, and they want an iOS app. They want it to be, we want to build a sandwich. We want it to have it delivered.
Anthony asks if he can watch this afterwards. No, you can't. He asks if you can watch it afterwards because he has to leave. You can't leave.
Yeah.
Anthony.
Bolt yourself to your chair.
You can scrub back and it will be available.
That's right. Okay. So here's some basic requirements. We want to build a sandwich. We want to have it delivered. We want to track the progress, and we want to have repeat orders, and it needs to be fast. This company is known for speed, so we want to make it fast. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these, can go a long way in terms of how you're going to design your interface. You know, sometimes you can get caught in this cycle of, oh, maybe we could just have this like Tinder style swipe left, swipe right for sandwiches that we like, or oh, would it be cool if we did this feature? But if you look at the requirements of what we're actually trying to do, it's really somebody is hungry and we want to get them a sandwich as fast as humanly possible. So when we're designing this, we're just trying to get people from point A to point B. So that's what we're going to kind of look at here. So let me fire up XD. I'm going to go with the iPhone 6-7 size here. And I went ahead and made a little Adobe Live folder here just to kind of give you an idea of some folder structure, the way that I like to start off structuring my files. So we've got Adobe Live, we've got our client name here, Sanfran Witch Co. Feel free to come up with another name if you want to see something, have a better name than that. And really, I just have like these three folders in here that I like to start with. Some assets, some design folders, and then things for review. And inside of design folder, I would always put the software name as the child folder. So if I had some Illustrator files in here, I might say Illustrator goes in here. Mm-hmm. I might put my Photoshop files in there as well.
Yeah, people were asking about, using Photoshop and Illustrator with XD, so that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got my XD folder here, and also XD supports a lot of drag and drop text, so I'll cover this in a little bit as well. So I have my folder structure set up. Assets would typically be anything that the client would provide, like maybe this is their logo, or this is a brand guideline, or just different images that you might want to put into an assets folder. And then for a review, I would always, any designs that need to be reviewed that I export, kind of get in here and start it by date and say this is maybe like first draft screens. Typically I wouldn't create this until I'm getting ready to export, but just to give you a general idea of the structure before we get started. So I've got my untitled file here. I'm going to go ahead and save it just so I don't lose anything as I get started.
And who does that? Who realizes, like, after an hour and a half of working that you haven't saved your file?
I do it all the time. All right, let's see here. Another small tidbit. I'm going to go Sanfran, which this is kind of I have like a bit of an algorithm for how I name my file. So I always like the client name or abbreviation, and then this is going to be UX, and I'm going to put my initials, and this will be version 0.1. And so if we were working on this as a team, you might create the same file, and you might have your initials, and the latest one in the folder might be version 0.2, and it's kind of an easy way to keep track of that if you're working between different designers. I'm going to save that in there. All right. So
it's good. It's good. No, it's good. It's good setup. A lot of you obviously have thought ahead as to what you need and don't need overall. So this is good.
So because I'm starting on a blank canvas, there are some templates that you can use from the UI kits that are pre-built. So you got Apple iOS, Google Material. So you can always open those up and get started with, some of these default files in here. Like if you wanted to grab some of the header.
Yeah. Can you show that again real fast?
Absolutely.
Just kind of pull that up so people can we just pause on it for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah, those UI kits. That's where you went?
File, open UI kit, Apple iOS.
Everybody hopefully has that, right? So again, no code involved, as somebody asked. Grabbing these quick resources.
That's right.
Which is awesome.
And now we can copy and paste these into our own file if we want to. It's always fun to personalize your carrier name. So I'm going to go ahead and change that.
Sajin, I can't actually see you because I'm not looking through your webcam, but we are able to read all of your comments. And thank you, everybody, just for participating and asking questions. So yeah, we're going to get into some of the Photoshop workflow too, either between maybe more like tomorrow. So you could just change that, obviously.
Yep.
All of it's live text, if you will.
That's right. I always change my time to like 5 a.m. because a lot of times if I'm mirroring the image on my phone and I'm down deep in design mode, if it's set at some believable time, I might think, oh, it's only 9:19 in the morning. Oh. And I'm like, I lose track of time.
And it's 10 at night.
Yeah, it's 10 at night. And I'm still working.
Your wife and kids your dinner's on the table, got cold. And
yeah, so I know I would never be like in a deep design zone at 5 a.m. So
again, resources, that is a resource, by the way. These UI kits, huge. Obviously, the starter file within the start menu, really helpful. We talked about Matt's website, mds.is, or is. Has demo files too, just a way to get started, which is exactly what you're doing. So it looks good.
That's right.
He's doing a little. What are you doing there?
I'm just gonna make a little background shape here.
Okay.
The UI kit did not have this set as a background. I'm just gonna put a little background in here. I'm just kind of getting this set up. There's not really any big secretive thing going on here. I'm just gonna paste this in place. I'm going to use some fun quick keys. You can do Command Option arrow keys to kind of align this stuff. Command Control M and C will center and align that.
Oh, Command Control C will center.
That's right.
And then M does what?
M will kind of align it to the middle.
See, vertically. I did not know that. That's good.
That's right. Gotta love your quick keys. I'm like a quick key junkie, so if you see things kind of flying around, feel free to ask questions. I'll make sure Paul taps me on the shoulder so I can.
Yeah, and other than that, you're just, obviously, you might hit Shift and arrow keys to move things over.
That's right.
Duplicate.
All right, so
you can import. Sorry about that. GIFs aren't going to be animated when you import them. It'll just kind of bring in the first frame. All of those other file types that you'd expect, you can obviously bring in, so you don't have to.
That's right.
Obviously, create things from scratch.
So I have another. I have a working file that I've spent a lot of time on, kind of designing some kind of base level styles for like low fidelity wireframes, and inside of these files, I have some predetermined swatches that have, actually looks like these may have gotten left over. But because I've created all of these components, a lot of times I will just copy and paste some of my existing files, kind of cannibalize them for new screens. Go ahead and delete some of this stuff out of here. Change this to Adobe Live. So one of the first things I like to do is kind of set up a symbol for the, and actually this is going to be an app, so I don't need the URL in here.
No, that's true.
So let's get rid of that. I know that you got a question here?
There's quite a few.
All right.
So yeah, I'd have to double check. Actually, I do know somebody has written a blog post on the shortcut keys for XD. There isn't a list, nor can you make your own custom ones just yet, but all the standard ones apply for zooming.
And I do have if you go to mds.is max and look at the PDF workbook for designing and prototyping better user experiences, this is a PDF for the XD lab I did at Max, and there is a section for all of the quick keys on page 6. So all of these are listed out for your convenience.
Cool. I will. I'll post that link.
Awesome.
In the chat.
And it really just takes kind of looking to see what they are and figuring out, what makes sense for you. But the more quick keys you can learn, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you're pretty fast. So you notice you're using lots of shortcuts. Obviously, with the keys, you've even pasted it. You've taken some from the UI kits. You've taken assets from your own little library, which is cool. Because you're like, hey, I only have an hour and a half, and this crowd is demanding a lot.
We gotta speed it up here. Haven't even designed anything yet. All right, I'm gonna use SF UI. This is kind of the standard text font for iOS apps. There are obviously more that you can use, but because we want this to be really quick, I'm gonna go with default font styling and all of that. And another reason to do this kind of low fidelity version is so you don't have to worry about font sizes too much. You don't want to worry too much about color or anything like that. I mean, you want to make it look nice, but you just kind of want to go standard when you're going low fidelity. So let's start off with a menu. So I've got my little flow here. I'm just going to go ahead and create like individual blank screens of all of these little flows, just so we kind of understand like what's happening. So maybe I'll change this later, but this will be get rid of that. I'm going to name this home. Got a question for me? Or no?
I have an announcement.
Okay, announcement. Announcement time.
We will give away a 1-year Creative Cloud subscription to someone in the chat in 30 minutes.
Ooh, within the next 30 minutes. We're just going to give away Creative Cloud, just like, here you go. Hey, just for hanging out. That's kind of awesome. Thanks, Michael.
That's a pretty good value.
You're a pretty nice guy. You're a pretty nice guy.
Creative Cloud.
Creative Cloud.
Shout it aloud. Dashboard. Okay.
Sorry. Oh, one more quick thing.
One more quick question.
And this might go. We're going to answer this later on. But like Kyle Supper asks about when you publish that prototype, those are basically screens. So you're not really creating HTML and CSS and all this stuff. You're not generating code. You're not seeing any code. You're creating a prototype that you can then sort of build out later on. So. And we love the enthusiasm that is now coming through the chat.
Whoa,
like, yeah,
pick me.
What,
all right.
What. We can't hear the music in the studio, but I'm pretending like there's some dance music.
There's no beat.
Oh. Well, that's how I dance anyway. Whether there's a beat or not, I'm not on it.
All right, so I'm just gonna gonna keep roughing in the screens here. I'm gonna kind of rough out a big flow while everybody's going crazy about the Creative Cloud. Call
That's
this
good, man.
Choose bread.
You do your thing, man. We're all here about. And again, if you do have Creative Cloud, all you need to do is just go up to your desktop app and download or install Adobe XD, and also hit update because Matt's already mentioned some things. He mentioned symbols earlier, and that's a new feature, having symbols as well as layers, not to steal your thunder, but I like hearing that, having a Photoshop background. Layers make me feel good, so.
Command Y will toggle your layers. However, when I've been using XD, I haven't been using the layers panel that much. I've been keeping it hidden and just using the quick keys to toggle things
And you
around.
send things forward, send things back?
Command Shift left bracket will send it all the way to the back, whereas Command left bracket will send it just one layer back.
And I think that's true for
Photoshop. Yeah.
Which I've been using that a lot. Hello from Bosnia in the house. Welcome.
Yeah. All right. Customize. We want to choose meats. We want to choose some toppings. Let's see here. Just roughing these screens in.
We do have to have a vegetarian option.
I know. That's why we've got
mainly for our boss.
We've got meat / protein, so we might have some beans or something.
Not horse
some
meat.
Soy. No horse meat.
When we said horse sandwiches earlier, we were talking about sandwiches for horses.
No horses were harmed in the making of this interface.
Hello from Russia. Good to have you here. Don't need an FTP when you publish this out, and that's for prototyping later. It's going to generate that own little URL that anybody can see that has that URL, And then if they have an Adobe ID, they can actually add comments to that to those different screens, which is pretty cool. All right, good to see. Freak just is installing XD on his PC. Under a minute, he's going to be rocking. So don't forget about the contest. If you click that third tab within this interface, talks about the contest rules. I don't even like that word rules. I mean, really, we just want you guys to have fun creating, because I love how easy this is. I mean, you're obviously making multiple screens super fast.
Let's see. Build. Let's call this customize.
Hey, Turalef, when will XD be available for Windows? I don't know. It's a great idea. Let's make it available for Windows, because it is Windows 10. Check it out. Yeah. And it's available to you now. Oh yeah, let's give Michael. Let him. He's gonna go work on it.
Okay, it's available.
Okay, it should be done now. So yeah, just go to your Windows desktop on a laptop. Done. It is recorded for later replay. You could just have that on loop.
You should subscribe. Creative Cloud channel.
Oh yeah, thank you. You can subscribe to the Creative Cloud channel, of course, actually right down there in the lower left. Hit subscribe, because we have 3 days of basically events and all these different guests coming in, so you don't want to miss anything. They are recorded. But we like to have you guys here live, because honestly, that's the only way you're going to win, because in about 15 minutes, we'll give away Creative Cloud. Yeah, just because, Michael's feeling nice, he's feeling good. He's happy to be here. Oh, I like this. I even like the font you're choosing right now. Can I just say that out loud?
Yes. You gotta love the
You
SF
can tell
UI.
you have a design background. Is that bold? I don't even know what font that is. Obviously like a heavy whatever.
SF UI display heavy. That big chunky. There you go.
I love it.
So what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to think of, okay, these are going to be the screens where someone goes in and chooses a sandwich. They're going to choose, or they're going to build their own. They're going to choose a bread. They're going to do a big custom kind of step-by-step thing. But if you look at the first screen, we're also going to let people choose from a menu, because not everyone wants to necessarily go straight in and customize. There's probably going to be pre-built options. So we want to be able to let people tap one of those and go to a new flow, which is going to be kind of started right here, which I'm going to call for now post sandwich. So even if you choose a sandwich, we might want to add condiments and stuff like that, maybe a drink, some add-ons. So no matter if you went through and you built the flow from scratch, or you chose a sandwich that was pre-built, we're going to drop you off on the condiments and drink section.
Cool.
And again, I'm not really designing yet. I'm just kind of working out, just getting this flow started, just to kind of get this shell going. Let's see.
To answer your question, like where the layers are, you can click, if you have Adobe XD open, click down in the very lower left corner. It kind of looks like a sandwich itself.
Yeah. This is, they're copying my app already. I don't know what's going on. No, you can also hit Command Y, which is even quicker than clicking that icon. Let's see, drinks. Maybe we're offering some cookies at this point. Maybe there's a power bar option or some coffee. Let's see.
Yes, this is being recorded. Yeah, we'll have to... Ben, that was a good question about the transition from graphic design to UI, UX.
What was the question about transitioning?
Yeah, just kind of how you made that transition.
Yeah, so I started off designing logos and brochures and packaging and just anything and everything, and kind of I had a little bit of a web background way back in 2005, and Flash was really big and hot back then, and so I taught myself how to use Flash, and that led to more Flash websites, and then that led to more agency work, doing UX design and UI design kind of in collaboration with teams. And you just kind of get started and you don't stop, and you work on the things that you want to work on, and it just keeps building on itself. There's no like light switch that you hit. It's just, if you want to work on something, if you want to do mobile designs, start doing mobile designs and posting them. What's up, Damien? I see you in there from the XD team. Hope his knee is doing better. He had ACL recovery surgery or something like that.
Yep.
All right, so we're gonna do choose add-ons right here.
I think hopefully how you get motivated is honestly being around others and seeing their stuff, whether it's through Behance or, just being around people like Matt here. I mean, he does a lot of stuff and he doesn't realize like just the amount of work that he does is inspiring, and just being around, people even in the chat that I see. Rob Generette again, good to see you here. Go, I see you. Go Flash. What's up?
I think we have a lot of people in the chat who are new to XD. Maybe you can just remind them what is the aim, the goal of Adobe XD.
Yeah.
What you can do with it, who's the target audience, why is it useful?
Yeah, exactly. And really it's an app that allows you to design and prototype again within one sort of interface, if you will. So, whether you have an Illustrator or Photoshop background, it doesn't matter. You can design what you want, whether it's for a website or a mobile app or anything that you need to get across. Even Apple Watch sort of interactions. But you're designing and you're bringing in elements maybe from Illustrator or Photoshop, and then you can quickly prototype. And I know I'm not showing it here, but how can I link those screens together to get my idea
and we're about to link some screens together.
Fantastic.
Does Matt have a version of his low fidelity templates to share? Save so much time. There is not any low fidelity templates yet, but I will be putting them together very soon, so
cool.
You can stay on the lookout for that.
Should they follow you on Twitter?
Yes, please, by all means.
Okay. I would put the link to your Twitter account in the chat.
Cool.
All right, let's see. Billing account. So let's just look at this thing here. So you can either build a custom sandwich and go through all of the steps, or you can choose from the menu and get dropped off here to choose condiments, drinks, and stuff. Okay, and this one needs to be choose your address or give us your address. We need to know where to deliver your sandwich.
Just a couple comments on guides, and we hear you there. Like, I get it. I think it, yeah. And again, so I'm sure if I went out to, sort of providing feedback within the XD menu, I would see guides near the top of the list.
And I have a point of view on that too. I actually don't miss guides. I don't use them that often. And I probably should. I mean, it's definitely very subjective. Some people really need them and use them, and I think that's fine. But for me, I like to... So if you draw a shape, especially if you're using, if you're doing a big website layout, they're way helpful to kind of, to figure out the big screen layouts. But if you're doing mobile, I love just being able to toggle, the option key to see, okay, well, this is 30 pixels from the corner over here. This one's 29. So I can change, the width and make this all even.
And you're just, with that object selected, hold down the option key and you get, as you roll over it, or do you need to have your cursor over it?
Yeah, so if you're holding, you click the object, hold option, and then you can see the distance between 30 pixels over here, 30 pixels over there.
Gotcha. Again, similar to
and also,
Photoshop.
If you have, say, 20 pixels of margin there, I like when you can copy a shape and it tries to guess, that you want to use the same amount of spacing here, so you can see like,
and I love
it's
that.
trying to guess, okay, do you want to use 32 because you used it again up here? That's a pretty cool feature as well. But before I go too far, let's get back into this app. So on this screen, I thought about this when I was flying over here on the plane. I was checking out this. I was like, okay, maybe we need to give just your basic address, your zip code. How are we gonna get someone to deliver the sandwich? And then it kind of struck me as I was taking an Uber back to the hotel, like, why can't we just rip off the Uber design and just put it on the map and hit, this is where I want the sandwich to get delivered. And so I think that's like one button, makes it quicker. We're all about speed here, so we don't need to fill out a big address form. We can just hit
identify where I'm at and give me suggested areas. Like if we're staying at the Hilton, give me the Hilton on it.
And if you allow the location, we can actually target you right where you are.
And then can a quadcopter come and drop it off?
Absolutely.
That'd be awesome.
So
I like that.
Choose location. And then you'd also want to account for, what happens if they didn't enable the app to locate, the physical, user location. You can't say no to that. And should the entire app break if they don't enable location services? So you kind of want to plan for that if that's the case.
Yeah.
Maybe you do provide a form at that point.
So, and in terms of creating these artboards or screens, you just duplicate. I mean, you can talk about that.
Yeah. So if you start off, if you hit the A key, or click this little artboard thing right.
But I doubt
there.
you use that. You do too many shortcut keys to be.
Honestly,
that button.
I actually want to be able to hide this menu.
Oh, really?
I want to be able to hide everything and just use only shortcut keys. But the A key for artboard, everything is pretty intuitive in terms of, R for rectangle, E for ellipse, L for line, P for pencil.
And then it's cool that if you're creating an artboard, often you just duplicate it. So
yeah, exactly.
What did you do? Just select the title and.
Yeah, so if you select the title of your artboard and hit Command D.
Command D. Done.
That will duplicate your artboard over.
You can always move that around and.
Yeah, and you can grab it by the title to move it around. And if you're OCD like me, you can get it just the same amount of distance from the others. Yeah.
So Jacob asks, and I saw this a couple times, in terms of designing, when does the design part come in? And I think for you personally, having a background in design, is it hard to not design right away? Because that would be my go-to.
Yes.
To make it look pretty.
It is very, it actually took me a long time to not get straight into the design. And the design is very much a part of how the app is going to work. But if you're for more complicated flows and complicated apps, it's definitely it needs to function well. And so if you can figure out the functionality, at least from a very low fidelity standpoint, even with a sketch, like I've got here, you can kind of dig into it. But for me personally, if I go straight into design, I'm going to be working on typography and working on screens way too long. I'm going to be designing icons. I'm going to be trying to find clip art lettuce, or maybe I should just design my own lettuce and build.
And then you're 5 hours later.
Yeah, or 5 days later. 5 days later, how is this app going to work? And I think the value of not jumping right into it, especially if you're on the hook for delivering everything, is figuring out are there developers waiting for the flows to be ready? Because if you can provide these flows up front, the development team can go ahead and get started on building out the logic for the back end, and the CEO or whoever, or the investors, can figure out how this is going to work. There's a lot of ground you can cover with doing the flows first and just kind of almost sitting on your design hands for a while. I mean, when I get into actual, even the low fidelity designs, I can't help myself from not making it look good. I'm going to design certain icons and make sure it's nice and tight, but yeah, it's kind of a it's kind of a double-edged sword, but I think it's a good way to get started like that.
Yeah, I agree. And you've been able to move through this pretty fast.
Yeah, and actually, I don't even typically. I would get started more on a screen like this, which is a little more refined. But I'm kind of experimenting with this new blank artboard thing in the spirit of this live show to see if I can go even faster.
Yeah, do it.
So I think this will be cool. Faster.
You want it faster.
Don't get the whip out. You told me you weren't going to do that. Okay, let's see. Billing and account. This is pretty much it. So once you add your billing info, we're going to get in here and say, we're going to track your progress. So we're going to track this sandwich on a map, so you can see when it's going to be there.
So just to answer these questions, so XD is not connected to Muse. In terms of outputting this, I mean, your end result is you want to make sure that this is the flow is signed off by the client really before you go into sort of the development mode. So it's not like you're even giving the developer any code. You're giving them maybe a lot of the assets and the screens. You've shared the prototype, obviously, with the developer, and then they're putting all that together the way they want to, which is totally cool. We're not writing any code for anyone, because that's how you make some people unhappy, I think. At least when it's generated by a computer, there's issues around that.
Yeah.
So
if I'm designing websites, though, I do like to provide some CSS.
Yeah, that's true.
iOS is a little bit different. All right, so I'm thinking maybe at the end of tracking the sandwich, and the sandwich has arrived. Actually,
by the
this would
quadcopter.
be or the courier, whatever.
The courier on a quadcopter.
That's right. Sandwich has arrived. I'm kind of thinking, like, should there be like a rating system? Should you say something about your sandwich has arrived? I'm not sure, so I'm kind of making these screens just in case we want to do that. It might prove to be weird later.
Yeah, and maybe is it a text notification or something like that? Who knows?
Sandwich is here.
What was the integration with like Photoshop and Illustrator? Obviously, we're Adobe. Integration with Creative Cloud. I mean, that's all Creative Cloud libraries. I mean, you can easily see that coming in the future. We could easily copy and paste content. You know, whether you want it linked is kind of a whole other story, but that's kind of where Creative Cloud Libraries comes into play. But you can, if you've designed something in Illustrator, you can actually just copy it and paste it on in. It's going to come in as SVG, fully editable, all that good stuff. Or you can copy and paste from Photoshop. It'll come in. If it's vector content, it's going to keep it as vector content.
And speaking of copying and pasting, I got a few icons I can show some of that really quickly.
Oh, how fun.
Just real quick.
I think we might need to see, like, for those who have been asking about design, they might be like, oh, you designed something. Oh, there we go.
I know, yeah. So
there we go.
I just quickly designed all these icons in a few seconds. But yeah, you can see like all of these are just vector-based icons. These were some that I went over in the Illustrator lab at Adobe Max, but you can see that if you just copy and paste into, let me close some of these documents that I don't need. Close this one. Yeah, so if you're in here, you can just paste it right in place, and then you have, you know, your vector shape straight from Illustrator. You can even still manipulate the points and everything.
Yeah, and if you had text on that, you can still edit the text.
That's right.
Which is cool.
All right, so this is the last screen that I'm going to put into place. I'm going to call this home, and then
I'm just going to show this, yeah.
Home
and you know, if you don't want to design everything from scratch, obviously somebody's probably designed that X or Y or whatever it is. Adobe stock.adobe.com. I'm just amazed for like one credit you can get like all of the icons. So again, just a resource for you guys. We have stock. Cool.
All right, let's call this first time. We'll do home first time, and we'll do down here, we'll have home recent. And so the idea behind these two different home screens, it's basically going to be the same screen, but I'm thinking, okay, if you download the app, you want to just be able to get quickly started. You want to remember, we just want to build a sandwich, we want to get it delivered, we want to eat it, and that's like the main priority. So first time, we want someone to be able to do that, whether it's a custom sandwich or choose from a menu. But then once you go through it, we're assuming that you would probably want to order the same thing again at, the next week or the next day. So wouldn't it be great if we just tracked, which sandwiches you've already ordered? So we'll have like the same home screen view, but now with like the recent module, so you could just tap and maybe we could set up some kind of like quick one ordering type thing. So I think it's always important to think about like, how is it going to work from the very first time that you like download this app and start using it. Theoretically, you should provide value as quickly as humanly possible. Don't make someone sign up for an account immediately before you've given value. And
that's a good point.
But then also, and sometimes you need to design what it looks like when it's fully filled out to get an idea of where it's going to go from the very beginning. But you want to make sure that you're covering both the first-time user experience and also the kind of repeat user experience, because oftentimes they're very different.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you've obviously provided the sort of the nuts and bolts, like the individual design pieces is what you've started with. Somebody was asking, well, isn't there more of a prototype sandwich app? I would think you'd still want to rethink the whole process in general. Like, I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, there are, this is essentially what would be called like a wizard. It's like you're choosing things one by one, and you could easily go to some burrito building website and use that as like a reference. But we're also just learning here. We're just kind of putting something together. So we're working under the assumption that, this company wants something custom and we're just going to do it. So we'll suspend reality just a touch, in order to make this seem a little more realistic. But you're absolutely right,
I like how people are asking about fonts. People did ask what font you're using. You know what? I don't want you to answer that necessarily because we're not talking about design yet, right?
Well, I think it's so I'm using SFUI, which is the standard text font for iOS apps. If you open your settings screen or your mail app or anything on iOS, it's going to be SFUI. It's SFUI text if it's below 20 points, and it's SFUI display if it's above 20 points. And so I just use that as my base, just so I don't have to think about it too much while I'm designing.
I think it's appropriate. You're using SFUI for SF sandwich app.
That's right. So I've just pulled in some buttons here.
D-Tactic wants to say you're great, man, and thank you. So that's awesome. And, I think one person's going to thank us very soon because we're going to be giving away Creative Cloud here shortly. And, yes. To answer your question real fast while you work, saw a couple questions about Project Felix, which was actually launched today. That's for actually sort of designing using 3D. You're not actually creating anything in 3D with Project Felix, but it's a new app that we're working on, allowing you to do your compositing. Like Photoshop doesn't take photos. You're doing your compositing there. That's essentially what Project Felix does. So we're taking a look at 3D and making sure it makes sense for designers. And that's the thing I'm the most excited about, keeping it simple. So Project Felix is out there. Feel free to, and I'm sure we'll have something on it soon, probably in January. What's that font size you're using?
All right, so this font size is 16 points over here. You definitely, one thing you can do is, again, going back to this UI kit, if you've never designed mobile apps before, the first thing that you'll notice very quickly is if you just try to start designing without previewing it on your phone, it's going to look like incredibly tiny, and you'll be really surprised at how you might be tempted to use like 8-pixel fonts or 10-pixel fonts. But even the tiniest fonts that Apple uses, kind of like underneath some of these icons in here, they rarely use anything under 12, and that's for the smallest fonts. And so if you're unsure about font sizes, sometimes the best thing to do is just take screenshots of the settings, or take screenshots of, or take anything out of this UI kit and just compare sizes. Even when I'm designing custom apps now, like I'll constantly take screenshots of any different apps I can think of that might have some type of relevant reference material. So back to this thing over here, most of these, I think most line items on a standard Apple app is like 17 points. But I like to use 16 just because I think in terms of like web development languages, and I typically work on like a 4-pixel grid in multiples of 4. It's kind of like what I think of in my brain. Yeah. So I've got my button here is 24 pixels from the title bar and 24, or I should say points. Everything's designed at 1x, and so this would translate into larger sizes at 2x, but for the most part this is all on a 4-point grid. In my mind, I'm not actually using the grid right now, but that's kind of where my mind's at. All right, so let's build a custom sandwich button there. I'm gonna I should have changed some of these backgrounds before, but I'm just gonna go through and kind of select the titles on these screens, or on these artboards rather, and change the background to this light gray. Sometimes if you use a light gray on, especially even when you're designing or using low fidelity design, the light gray can help, if you want like a white secondary button kind of pop a little bit more, or your input fields are white, sometimes they just stand out better on like a light gray background. So that's why I like to use that a lot of times. And hit the R key to draw a rectangle here and do kind of like a grid of images. Actually, let's see if I should steal some from another app. I might just go ahead and redraw these. Let's say we probably want to have like a nice big photo of a sandwich. So I'm just checking some sizes here. Let's see. 24.
And that screen size is just iPhone 6, 7 screen size?
Yes, that's correct. So it's going to be 375 by 667. And you can also you can make these artboards longer, if you want to have a longer scrolling view. I'm about to show what it looks like when we have multiple kind of menu items and you can preview it live. So even if I preview this one, I just hit Command Return, and now I can scroll on the screen to see what it looks like kind of in the live viewer. If I hit this plus button, you can see a little scrolling screen there. So these are going to be photos, but I don't want to necessarily use photos just yet. So I'm just going to use these little white boxes, maybe put a little line indicator on them here. Where is it?
And then we'll do the giveaway soon. 5 minutes. Giveaway in 5 minutes for those of you who are asking. So what's the difference between a wireframe and a mock-up?
Okay, so a wire, it's kind of like the difference between a sketch and a painting. So like if you're sketching, it's going to be kind of sketchy, and wireframes, to me, and some people might define this differently, but a wireframe is going to be more of a digital sketch. It's more of like, let's collect my thoughts. This is kind of an organized version of what I'm thinking. It's getting my thoughts on screen. Whereas a mock-up would be, I've carefully considered the typography, the weight, the spacing, the color, the call to action button color, and all the different like fine visual elements that don't really have a lot to do with the functionality, but more about, not the overall functionality, but more about the interface like pieces. And it definitely all merges together, but that's kind of how I would define the difference between the wireframe and the mock-up.
So you could actually have one person work on the mock-up and the other person someone else do the wireframe.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is no sign up. All you do need to do is just hit the subscribe button, and for this the Creative Cloud YouTube channel, it's in the lower left. It'd be fantastic. About 4 minutes, we'll give away Creative Cloud just because we want to, I guess, more or less. And the cool thing is actually you could sign up for a trial today and start using this, because we also have a contest going on. So you could download a trial, create a prototype, submit it to us for a chance to win Creative Cloud over the course of the next 3 days. Those details are in that third tab within the interface. It's called Contest. So again, I want you guys to win too. Somebody was asking about that. Let's do this. Creative Cloud CC, that gets you everything. Everybody's like, put an image in there. It's okay, calm down. I like this. Because we're talking to a designer here. Don't tell me he doesn't want to put things in it too. And you are grabbing some things.
Yeah, I was gonna try to grab this thing out of here. This is from an old project. I'm just gonna steal this thing instead of redrawing it. It's really just a grid of images.
Cool.
I don't need a lot of this stuff in here, so I'm gonna delete it.
Mycel says, subscribe to get 5 times the chances to win. Yeah, let's go with it. Yeah, I don't know how the robot works,
Make it
but
50.
yeah, sure.
That's how it works.
Oh, okay, that is how it works. All right, fantastic. 5 times the chance. The third tab, again, just within the interface, it's in the lower right. So it's weird that the tab is at the bottom, but that's what I'm calling it. And yeah, it says UX schedule and then contest. Short of it is just post something. I'm sure Matt's going to do that within the next hour. Is post this, show how to share it, and that's how you do. That's how you'd share it with us.
All right. So we've got sandwich title. Do we want to put a description on there, or do we want the price on there? If these are like some, if these are indeed sandwiches you can buy, you'd probably want to know how much they cost. Let's just make this one $9.99. Let's see. We can always change this later too.
So to answer Rick's question, like what do you sketch, and I don't know if you guys saw this earlier, but essentially this is his sketches that he did. Actually on the plane, he was probably hungry. He's like, you know what? I'm going to design a sandwich app. I need one stat. And you can actually see multiple screens, probably about 15 sketching out, first of all, the objectives, and then kind of the sort of the the lo-fi wireframes,
Yes.
essentially.
All right. Let me think about
Somebody's
that.
already waiting for their sandwich.
It's going to be a while.
I like that spelling. Sandwich.
Sandwich. There you go. All right, so let's put this thing, group that for a second. 24.
Who is that? Simvras? Yeah, so this is for prototyping. You're not creating the full-fledged app. So yeah.
All right, so this is one of my favorite features in XD. So once you have a rough kind of idea of, okay, this is where a sandwich is going to go. It's going to have a title. Maybe the price ends up being over here. You know, we can kind of change this stuff around. But once you have like a component, you know, this would be considered kind of a component for even the developer would kind of use this component and reuse it throughout the system. So it makes sense to have this as kind of a master object. So with all of this in a group, all of this selected, I can hit Command R or go over here and hit repeat grid. And it's going to turn this thing into green outlines. And you have these nice little handles you can pull down and over. And then you can hover right in between, change the padding on this thing. Pull it over a little bit more. So I may want to scoot this whole thing over. So I'm holding Option. I can see that this is 13 pixels from the side. I want it to be like right at 8. And I'll check that one. So my math is not quite right here, but I'm not going to worry too much about everything being 100% precise.
Khalid, I like you have the best little comment there. Me plus XD equals like him basically kissing XD, which is kind of weird, but I like the icon.
That's fine.
Adobe UX, Adobe XD, ultimate in excitement. And
Extreme
by the way,
design.
this is extreme. Wait till we get some colors in there. But I think it's you kind of breezed by it. I don't want to break your flow, but the whole repeat grid thing, if you haven't seen that yet, then you're welcome because it's awesome.
Yes, it is.
So
All right, I'm gonna move.
Giveaway.
I need
Giveaway.
to. Oh, giveaway's coming up.
I suppose you did an echo with that.
Giveaway.
Did you hear that? Was that the giveaway? The giveaway fairy? I don't know.
Maybe I should give a little.
Are you ready?
Okay, so for the giveaway,
What is happening now?
enter.
What?
So how it works.
Woo.
Okay. So you have to type in the chat a secret keyword. I will explain what this is. The secret keyword, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube Creative Cloud channel. It will give you 5 times more chances to win a 1-year Creative Cloud subscription. And Nightbot, which is my robot. I raised a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From its little.
Yeah.
Little.
So it's very tiny now.
infant.
It's a big guy.
He's crawling around in here
His name's
somewhere.
Nightbot. He will
Starts
pick
knocking
someone in
everything.
the chat. Okay. So the secret keyword is we are using Adobe XD, but what does it stand for? Like XD. You have to type the full name. XD. What does it mean?
All right, what does Adobe XD, what does XD stand for? Type that in the chat, and that enters you in to win. So what does XD stand for? And you can we want the actual name. I'm sure somebody's going to do some fun. So XD, what is it? What do those initials stand for?
Adobe XD.
Yeah. Boom, I saw it in there.
So fast.
Boom, boom. Entering. Good to see. I think everybody's getting it. I think we have some music. Work it. Or not. Giveaway. 1-year Creative Cloud. That's going to give you everything. People were asking about Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign. You guys were asking about everything, Obviously, XD involved. what does that stand for? I don't know. It's like flashing in front of the screen like you wouldn't believe. Good to see. Fantastic.
Okay, so we will pick the winner, and I will give the instructions in the chat, but the winner will have to contact me on Twitter, okay? But this will be in the chat, okay?
Okay. Perfecto. Thank you for entering, guys.
Paul, the winner
Good to
is-
see. He's going to do it. Working.
Raoul Rail JM. The winner is
Raoul.
Rail JM.
Raoul JM.
here.
Ooh. Raoul JM. Raoul JM. Congratulations. We want to hear you say yay in the chat. Please be nice to Raoul. I see a.
And they will
I
be
saw Raoul Z. That might be him.
giveaways all day long.
Oh yeah, and this is only the beginning, by the way. This is just our first one, and we appreciate you guys. I just know Raoul. We will be contacting you. Hit us up. Michael's typing that in right now. Exactly what you need to do. Raoul JM. Thank you for typing that in. RAOUL. Fantastic. Let me just take a
Little snappy snap of that.
yeah little. It's commemorate the occasion. Raoul. Good job, bud. Not only do you have a cool name that's fun to say, but you also have Creative Cloud right now. Fantastic. All right, and you're creating
this is something we say in French. We say cool Raoul.
cool Raoul. I like how you
Cool
say
Raoul.
cool Raoul. Cool Raoul. And how much is he getting Creative Cloud for? $9.99, $7.99, $8.49, $4.50, $12.50? Raoul? No, it's absolutely free for him. And if he has Creative Cloud already, it just adds a year onto his current membership. So even if you already have it,
And there will be more giveaways.
all day today, guys. That's only the beginning. So pat him on the back. Stick around. Again, there's always the contest to increase your odds as well. You can find that in the tab in the lower left. Talks about the contest. Pretty easy. No, we're not saying everybody with the name Raoul gets Creative Cloud. Nice try.
My maiden name
My
was
maiden.
Raoul.
No, that doesn't no. I don't
My
know.
dog's name is Raoul.
So, I like it. We can call you Dave or Raoul.
So you may have just seen me making some weird text files here. Inside of my XD document, I've got a text folder now, and I made just a generic text.txt file. I was using Sublime. It's my code editor, but you can do this in TextEdit, Notepad, anything that you can type in, really, and save it as a .txt file. Just got some random sandwiches text. And once I have this repeat grid, now I can drag and drop these text files.
You ready for this? Watch it.
And
Bing.
let all of that kind of trickle through onto, whoops, grabbed the wrong one, sandwiches on the title.
Boom.
And so you can see now, like, I've got a long text name here, so I can either make this is actually on a text path right now. I didn't make it into a text field instead. So I should probably copy this and redo that a little bit. So I'm going to draw a text box in here so it confines the text a little bit more.
And you can whether it overlays the photo or who knows what.
Yeah. And again, we're not going to worry about that too much right now. Just going to do some low fidelity stuff here. And so now that this is a proper text field, I'm going to redrop my sandwich names on there. And so now I can see that all of these got updated. So I've just playing with like real world data. Always, Angelia Baxter missed how I did that. We'll just go over it one more time. So if you have some text fields in your repeat grid, you have the price and the sandwich name. I just created a simple text file. Where are you? In XD folder. And
do the reverse of it, just so she could. Maybe you drop the price onto the name, just so she.
So I'm going to drop the price text. So this text field is kind of lighting up blue. You can put it wherever you want. So maybe I put the prices there, and now I've got prices everywhere. And what's nice about this is if I move any of these, all of them are going to change. So now that I've got one component created, They're all going to be live and change on the fly. But that's my sandwich name field. So I'm going to grab the text file again and just drag it and drop it right on there.
Yes.
Hey guys, you want to introduce yourself and explain what's going on for our Instagram friends?
Yeah, fantastic. Let's do it. Hello, Paul Trani here, Evangelist.
Yeah. I have to click first. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome, Paul Trani, Evangelist for Adobe. We are here talking about Adobe XD. Here I am.
Yes. Matt D. Smith here, designing some stuff in XD.
Just showed a repeat grid. It was awesome. It was
That's right.
dope. I don't know how long you're going for.
That's
okay, good.
Thanks.
And just to answer your question, that's what we're using is this repeat grid, which is really cool. I would love to see it in everywhere because you find out how useful
Renee
it
is excited about this feature.
Yeah. Yes. That's awesome.
All right, so these are going to be, I've got this little repeat grid going on. And, you know, I might as well show the picture thing too, since everybody's antsy to see the pictures. I don't have, so typically what you would do, the same way that you would come up with your prices and your sandwiches, actually, you might as well just do this. Let's call this images. Let's go to our handy dandy Adobe stock account.
Yeah, this is cool. You're doing everything. Yeah, can you do repeat grid with images?
Can I remember my password? That's the what is it?
I don't know. Maybe if you just say it out loud for everyone. Just kidding.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna just pause that briefly. We'll make you suffer through this. All right. We're gonna take a chance here and do a live Google image search.
For sandwiches.
Oh, that didn't work. Here we go.
And just to answer some of these questions, yes, this is being obviously being recorded. It's going to be available on YouTube after today. You can go to the Adobe Creative Cloud channel. We encourage you to hit the subscribe button because that's how you get notified of these events. This is the first hour. Well, actually, we're in the second hour of the first day of a 3-day stream, which is fantastic. I'd love for it to be Matt the whole time, but we have a ton of guests coming in, and that will happen actually shortly. You have about, just a little time check. Yeah, so you have about 55 minutes, and you can see the schedule. Amelie Lamont is going to be coming up next at 11 a.m. So, yeah, we can talk about, in terms of animation, we can talk about the transitions that you can add and that sort of thing. And apologize for Alan R. We don't mean to make people hungry as we start using images and talking about sandwiches.
Right. But we are going to still show you pictures of food, so here we go.
Food for Abnay says, food for thought. I love your phrasing there. For download, yeah, you're kind of on your own there. I mean, it's YouTube, and I'm sure there's ways to get a YouTube video downloaded.
You look like Daniel
I just don't know if
Craig,
it's like.
apparently.
Oh, I don't even.
Do you get did that get that
no,
often?
I don't. I wish I had his accent.
All right, so the same way we dragged. We didn't drug anyone. We dragged the text file onto.
No drugs were involved in the making of this app.
We're gonna drag all of these images. I'm gonna select all of these images that I just briefly appropriated from Google Images. Would have used Adobe Stock had I remembered my password. But just to show you a quick
prototype
idea,
anyway, so that's okay.
I'm gonna grab all of these. Come on, click in there, and I'm gonna see how this is turning blue when I go.
Actually, let's switch over. Sorry. So he has all these images. They just came from someplace. Who knows where?
Yes. Just I'm a hobby sandwich photographer in my spare time. These were all personal images of mine. Pull these into. Make sure you don't accidentally go into the background. Put it right there on the file.
But anything is highlighted.
Yeah, there you go. So now I have all these random sandwich images inside of this. Inside of these repeat grids, and again, I can change this around if I want to. I could have created a mask and placed those in instead. But yeah, that's especially when you get into design and you want to use real images and stuff. That's the way to do it. But again, these are kind of low fidelity wireframes, so I'm gonna keep these out for now because it's too tempting to start messing around with color grading and, oh, what if they all had the same like blue tint? So I don't want to start messing with that just yet. So I'm gonna keep it like this for now. So now I've got build a custom sandwich. We've got our menu items here. Probably don't need that long of a screen, so I'm gonna, let's go pull this grid down a little bit more.
Somebody just mentioned, I have to mention this because somebody mentioned this earlier and I thought it was hilarious. They wanted like a Tinder style sandwich selector. So you could be like, no, yes.
And
called Sander.
And so that's a good point, because I've designed apps for clients where, ooh, what if we had this Tinder like thing? But it's not necessarily a bad thing to think about and talk about. But if we look back at our requirements, we want, this is a company that's known for super fast custom delivery, custom sandwiches. And although it would be kind of cool to do a Tinder style interaction, we want to build a sandwich, we want to have it delivered, track the progress, repeat orders, speed. It's all about speed. And so
that's huge. You've underlined that one, and so
it's important because it's underlined. So
that's good.
You have to almost use this as ammunition in your conversations against competing ideas for interactions. It's like, and that's really another great thing that these low fidelity designs start to do, is they bubble up all of the ideas that people have, and they kind of rises to the top, like, oh, how are we going to handle the back-end database that's managing all the sandwiches? And so everyone can start thinking at a deeper level because you've quickly done all of these flows. And so there's my little mini rant again.
Can I just say I'm really glad that we have XD on Windows today, because everybody's been asking about it.
Yes.
So yes, that
today.
It's available today.
All right. So what I'm going to do now, I think I pasted a little arrow in here. I'm going to use this arrow. And actually, you know what? Let's go back to this UI kit here. I'm going to grab a back arrow, steal this thing out of here.
Nice.
I'm going to hit Command tilde, which is the key to the left of the one key to switch between documents. That works for XD and any other app.
What did you do?
Command tilde will switch between all of your open documents.
Okay.
And generally, like almost all of your programs that are opened.
How come I never use that?
Whereas like Command tab will go between your open software programs. Command tilde will.
Cool.
Even if I think it works in. No, that's option. So it's different in Google. But most design programs, you can use that Command tilde.
Because essentially what you're doing is he was taking from one of the UI kits, which is totally awesome. I'll let you kind of do that right now. And somebody asked about using content from Illustrator and Photoshop, and you don't have to export that out and then import it. You can just copy it and paste it. In terms of copying and pasting, and let me, if this gives you time, let me just give me 1 second to load up something. I'll just give me 1 second.
Your second is up.
And it's up. Let me just click. I need to just get a vector asset somewhere in here. There's all sorts of fun things in here. Give me 1
So what's cool about like what I'm doing here, I need these back buttons and these next buttons on all the screens. So if I copy this and then I choose this artboard and I hit paste, it's going to automatically paste it kind of where it got it from the other artboard. So it's pretty nice and quick to do that.
The UI kits are actually just built in, so you just go to File, up to the top File, you'll see UI kits, and there's 3 available. So iPhone UI is, of course, the iOS one there. So
see, it'll be back on the bread. Oops, messed up. So do you want to show an asset real quick, or do you want me to? I'm going to link up some of these prototypes really quickly as well.
Oh, sweet.
So whatever we have ready to go.
Yeah. Let's see. We could do a number of things. There we go. I was just going to show really fast, and honestly, you're going to be designing later on. So let's just do this. Yeah, switch to me real fast. Okay. And again, don't think too much about design, but in terms of getting content from other apps, here I am in Photoshop specifically. I have these different items, and I can turn off the background. I can select any of these layers, and I can copy the SVG. So that's the easy way to get content from Photoshop into Adobe XD. Okay, you can take it to the next level because this title art right here is actually all in one folder. So I can copy SVG for that entire folder, which includes a lot of vector content. And then when I go in XD, pasting it in, and it's actually in there. I know it's kind of a gray on white, but that's just a quick way to sort of bring in your buttons, which is cool because now you're going to start linking some of these buttons together as well, which is going to be really exciting. So copy and paste from those apps.
Nice.
All right, let's switch over back to Matt.
All right, so now that I have a few of these screens, I've got probably not everything, but a lot of these screens are at least in place to be thought of as placeholders. And now I've got one of these designed, at least at a very minimal stage where I can preview and see, okay, this is the home section. We're going to build a custom sandwich here, or we can choose. We may even need a label here. I might need to say choose from a pre-existing sandwich. And maybe the price doesn't show up until later because they need certain add-ons or something. So I could go back and change my mind there. But you can start to see that I'm scrolling through here and I'm making a note for myself. One thing I really like to do in this stage too is make a red kind of bold note and kind of angle it a little bit. It just really sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, like your FPO sort of.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like maybe we need a footer here. And I think this kind of helps break down the barrier to the idea that you need to work 2 straight days on pixel perfect design and then have a big reveal. Like I can do this in an hour, and if you're the client, I can show you this and start talking about it and be like, yeah, so we might have, I don't know if this is going to be a grid, I don't know if this is going to be a list, but there's going to be sandwiches here. You're going to see titles, there's going to be some type of button, and maybe there's a footer. I haven't decided yet. What are your thoughts on that? And so if you're...
I think it should be a foot-long footer.
It should be a foot-long footer. That'd actually be pretty funny. If it was like part of a sandwich.
Like the bottom piece of bread. You have the top at the top. And
yes.
I don't know.
Maybe we'll go for like ultra skeuomorphic bread interface. And it like indents as you press it. All right, so.
Yes, Pedro, you can use it to design a website. Really any interaction. So
yeah, I mean, absolutely. All right, so what we're going to do now, since we have a few of these screens, even though these aren't designed yet, we know that this is going to be a screen where you can choose bread, just to kind of show a little bit of the prototype action. I'm going to, my favorite way to switch into prototype mode is to hit Control-Tab, but you can also go over here and click this button if you want to waste a few seconds of your day. Click on prototype, and you can see now the properties panel over here on the right is gone because I'm in prototype mode. Right now it's showing this entire artboard as like a linkable object. And another thing I'm going to do, we don't have to show this just yet, but I always like to have my phone hooked up to this thing. So I'm going to launch that and we'll get a shot of this in just a second too. What I want to do is I'm going to mark this.
Manuel, feel free to post your question again if we missed it. There are lots coming through, but a lot of them around. I don't know, using a Wacom in XD? Sure, you can. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a trackpad guy. To each their own. I know people who use Wacom tablets, the big Logitech scroll mouse, Magic Mouse, trackpad. Do what feels right, and don't let anybody tell you any differently. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I want to build a custom sandwich to link this button to link to this next screen. The first thing we're going to do is choose bread. So if I click the artboard title, the whole thing is linked as like one giant hotspot. But if I click this button, now I get this tiny little arrow that I can just click and drag over to the choose bread artboard screen. And if I'm zoomed out a little bit and hit Command Z so you can see that better, when I let go, it's going to ask, what do you want the target to be? And it defaults to the one that you released your mouse click on. Transition by default is dissolve. The duration is 0.4 seconds. So if I want it to slide in like an iOS app would do, I need to change the transition to slide left. And I'm going to leave everything else the same. And now I want to go back to this home button here, and I want to grab the arrow and pull it back over there. And I can say slide right on that one. And so if I hit Command Return to test that out.
Haroon, to answer your question, the answer is yes. You can continue.
All right. So now I've got this screen. Now I'm going to click Build a Custom Sandwich. You can see it slides over to the bread screen. And I say, oh, you know what? Let me go back home. And so you can see this is starting to turn into, it's just a screen by screen transition, but it's just an easy way to start figuring this out. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly link up these buttons to the next screen. And you can see the transition is staying, whatever you selected last typically stays. So if I change this to slide left and go next, just dragging these things over here.
Okay, cool. You guys are asking a lot of these questions specifically about features. I think that's a good time to talk to Talon today at noon or when.
Friends, they want to show the mobile preview.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe you can share
Certainly.
and explain how it works.
All right, so what's going on here, just kind of give you guys a quick preview. This is pretty awesome. So essentially what you did actually in the menu, even before we go there, up top, sorry to point the, but yeah, go ahead and select, next to it, we're going to broadcast, boom.
Oh, there we go.
So it's connected via USB essentially, right, to his iPhone.
Yes.
Or, Android. So essentially, that's what's happening. It recognizes his device. Boom, that same design is right there.
And there's nothing really you need to do. You just click, you plug in the cord, you launch the XD app, and if the XD program is open, it just finds it. There's not really a big connection hassle.
What if you make a change in the design there? What's going to happen?
Oh, you're going to like this, Paul. You were going to like this.
I'm ready. Let's do this. I'm going
to try to get
that up in there.
All right, let's
want me to hold it? Here,
let's put that there right beside and just show the speed in which. So if I want to change this thing, look at that.
What? See?
It is blistering fast.
Yeah, you just have it connected and you don't have to hit refresh or anything like that.
This is just connected. It's super fast, super real time. It's amazing.
That is awesome. Just want to get here and enjoy it.
Yes. So now that it's in prototype mode, you can hit Command Return and you can play with the prototype on here. Mm-hmm. But you can also now, this is going to act just like a...
Okay, just like you were doing on the screen.
Yeah, there you go.
Essentially. Very cool. So, again, companion sort of app available. Obviously, just connect by USB. It'd be good there.
Yes. All right. Get back into my choosing bread screen over here. All right. Actually, I think I want to take the prices off of here for now, or maybe I'll leave them. I'll leave them for now. Go out of prototype mode.
All right, lots of questions. Yeah, it can connect to an iPad if you're doing an iPad layout.
It does work on Android.
Yep, works on Android.
We deserve a sandwich.
I like hearing that. I know I'm getting hungry.
Matt, you link the previous button to homepage, please. Yes, I did.
Yeah, exactly.
I did do that.
And you can even I love the option if you just select that again, that flyout menu.
And just click it and do previous artboard.
Yeah, exactly. So that's an easy way. And what I like is that it sets your settings to that what you selected last. Mm-hmm. So everything, it should actually just give it to you. Whoop. Oh, I think you might have made that your home screen accidentally.
Whoops. Yep. I did do that.
Cool.
Yeah, so now this is going to work just the same.
So can the client or the team write feedback in the prototype? Yes.
Yes, they can.
You can attach feedback, comments when we get to that point. But I mean, you're not even quite there yet because you're still kind of refining it for yourself.
Yeah, I think we want to get a little bit further before we would ask for specific feedback. I think this is a good start, but we would want to kind of flesh out some more of these screens and show how we're going to choose. What I think is going to happen is I'm going to need some more screens to where I'm still undecided right now, but when I'm choosing some of these options, I'm imagining that we'll have some rye bread, some wheat bread, maybe some gluten-free bread, maybe even some tortillas or some wraps. Who knows what's going to happen? But we may want to implement some type of choosing system to where you can make a selection and it lights up and then you hit next, as opposed to tapping and it goes straight away. Because we're going to get to the point where you add toppings and you might want to add lettuce and tomato and so we might want to support multi-select. And so if we're thinking that far ahead about multi-select, we might as well use the same interaction model for the bread, even though they're only single select. So if we're setting the expectation that when I tap something it goes right to the next screen, that would kind of mess you up for multi-select options. So we might want to just stick with one selection interaction. We'll do select an object. Maybe the next button is going to be grayed out until you can, until something's selected. And so I may need to spread these artboards out and add a few more screens in between showing disabled state. And then you tap one of the options and it lights up blue. Then you can hit the next screen and stuff like that.
And when we get into those prototypes, you need to be logged in. If you want to add comments, yes, you need to have an Adobe ID if you want to add comments. But anybody can actually see that content. So.
All right, so I'm going to steal some components again.
Yeah, you need to have an Adobe ID. Essentially, you can get a trial of Adobe XD. That is good for, I don't know if it's 15 days now. Is it 15 days for the trial of, say, Creative Cloud? 7? I'm off by 7 days. Nonetheless, that's long enough to create a prototype and win Creative Cloud because we're going to be giving away based on our submissions. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that real fast.
Display the contest again?
Yeah. Here's all about Welcome, and this is your chance to create a prototype for a chance to win a 1-year Creative Cloud membership. To enter, create a prototype using Adobe XD, and the theme is solving the problem of holiday planning. So maybe it's a present tracker or just tracking various holidays throughout the year. It's really up to you. Just submit the prototype to Twitter using the hashtag Adobe Live. We're going to be watching that hashtag. We'll be reviewing these live and picking winners. So we look forward to seeing what you create. Fantastic.
All right.
So that's how you enter. And again, if you just within the interface, as you're looking at it right now, in the lower right, you hit that contest button. That's that tab, basically the bullet points of how to enter. And again, we just say submit. You can submit ping files if you want to. Big thing is Adobe hashtag Adobe Live. So. Portugal Design Lab, we appreciate your patronage since Adobe 6.0. I don't know if you mean Photoshop 6.0. That'd be awesome.
I think I started on 3.0, Business Deluxe.
What, the Business Deluxe?
Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember.
There was some kind of Business Deluxe edition.
Oh, really?
It was
like a package?
Layers wasn't even a feature in Photoshop.
Because that wasn't until 3.5.
Okay, because my mom had Photoshop way back in the day, and that's where I got started messing around with stuff. So. Or maybe I'm thinking of Print Shop Deluxe. Did you ever mess with that?
Could
I don't know if that was Adobe or not.
But either way,
Long time ago.
Photoshop, you're talking about, I think 3.5 is when they added layers, but this probably gets us off on that tangent.
All right, let's see.
Yeah, so we hear you, Manuel. Sticky content, radio buttons, drop-down menus. We heard some of that stuff. We can talk about how you can kind of visually show that, but those micro interactions is also on the list. So it's all through, if you have XD, it's through user voice. So the help menu, you can access provide feedback, because we want to make sure we capture this, and we want you to vote up what you want. So yeah, Ryan Ford, it's all about sort of creating a holiday planner. So it could be a Christmas checklist. You can have everybody's names and whether you got them a present, what you got them, just different ideas, or tracking holidays overall. And maybe you're not into holidays, so there's like nothing on that list. That's fine. So just to, Renee, just kind of answer your question, like, does it support Siri? Essentially what we're creating is we're creating a prototype, and we're not really like coding the app. We can give the developer all those assets. We would just have to do a mock-up maybe of the Siri screen or any of that, iOS functionality that we want. We might build that in as a separate screen. Competition actually starts now. It's just a contest. We're all friends, but it starts right now, and we'll go for 3 days. So when we're done with the stream, that's kind of when we're done with the giveaways. Does live stream work on Windows 10 and Android? You mean the connection with the device? I'll have to double check, actually. Yeah? I mean, it should, since we have that app. I don't know. It would have to work. So yeah, we're 99% sure. We just haven't done it personally. So the answer is yes. I'm sorry, I can't read your name.
Yes-ish.
Russian, is that? Don't have spell text yet. Spell check. Nexus Designs. I mean, can it be a real site? I mean, it's just I think it's more, you could use it to present ideas. Like I can use it in lieu of PowerPoint if I wanted to. Not quite for a full-on site, to be honest with you.
You're not going to generate any code with this thing.
Yeah. Okay, just to Manuel, to answer your question there, it's not a coding tool. It's for designing and prototyping, ultimately getting your ideas across. So you're creating this prototype. Maybe it's as simple as a wireframe, which is kind of the state we're at now, is doing this wireframe. But we'll then create all those mock-ups, all of those screens saying, hey, client, this is what your app will look like, and this is how it will function, okay? And that's what it does, is it does the designing and the prototyping. We're not writing any code, we won't see any, but then we can export out this content to give it to a developer or start using those assets for the actual app. So that's what's going on. So could you use it for building a newsletter and export the HTML for... Now you can't export HTML, Sabrina, just to answer your question. Something like that, I might consider using something like Muse if I wanted to just create an HTML page, and then I'd actually get that HTML content from it. Or Dreamweaver, of course. And I encourage you guys to check out Dreamweaver. I think people are like, oh yeah, I remember hearing of Dreamweaver. Well, it's been pretty much overhauled the past year, kind of more focused on developers, and it's pretty awesome. Multi-cursor support, a lot of this live linking directly to the browser. I can change content; it'll change in the browser. So give it a whirl. Bootstrap baked into it. Haha, Portugal has Adobe Proto mobile app. That's awesome.
Give me some bread ideas. Can you make bread ideas?
Bread ideas.
White, wheat, rye, sourdough.
Donut.
Hoagie. Yeah, donut bread. That
Somebody
works.
wanted to order a donut. So I'm like, well, you could get donut bread. Why not? We eat their sandwiches like that. I love it. You got sourdough in there. English muffin.
English muffin. Yeah, that could work. English muffin bread.
You do you already have a grain, like you do a 7 grain, or I do English muffin cinnamon protein bread. And it's delicious.
That's a new one for me. English muffin cinnamon protein bread.
Yeah, that's a long title.
But that's good though. No, that's exactly why we're doing this.
Okay.
English
Maybe
muffin
gluten free.
Cinnamon protein. Gluten free.
Oh, yay.
All
Cool,
right.
we have another guest that's just arrived. We're going to I figured we'd let her in.
Oh, here we go.
Let
Cheese
her-
bread, bagel,
Amelie Lamont. She is up
gluten-free. Let's see.
in 20 minutes, actually. So that gives us 15. Ooh, bagel. That's good. Brioche. Ooh, a wrap. Nice.
Wrap, honey
Honey
oat.
oat.
Man, look at these.
Italian herb.
Ciabatta.
Ciabatta. It's ciabatta.
Marbled. Oh, there we go. Ciabatta, Let's speak of
Rolic. I've never heard of Rolic bread.
marbled rye.
Marbled rye.
Baguette, just for Michael.
Baguettes. Yeah.
Is it a Q? Is it B-A-Q-U-E-T-T?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to spell check that one.
B-A-G-U.
Yes, G. There we go. I think that's enough. 16.
That's quite a. It's almost you get to the paradox of choice, having too many things. You're like, just forget it. I'm just hungry. Give me a sandwich.
right.
I don't care.
That's right.
So
I've gotten. So the reason I like to do these text files is, it's quick to type in XD, but it's even quicker to type a text file and then just drag and drop this thing like right on there. And if we wanted to.
Manny, submit your designs in high res, low res. It doesn't matter. It's more about like what you create. We're not going to ding you for like if it's smaller. It's high res would be great, but we're also not printing it out. So
if you wanted to see what it looks like,
lettuce wrap. Ryan
yeah.
Ford. I like what you think.
Yeah, lettuce. And what's cool about this too, even if you drag and drop it, you can go and change one of these, even though it's has the text file applied. You can change a one off. So if I wanted to test English muffin, cinnamon.
Yeah, cinnamon. It was English muffin.
Protein.
Cinnamon protein.
So now we're gonna put that on there, and we might need to show a larger version. So a lot of times you would want to find like your.
Hi, Amelie.
Hello.
Hello, nice to meet you. She's coming up next in 20 minutes. Exciting. Good to have you here. How fun. Guests rolling in. So the text files, it's just a TXT file, and it's really just hard returns that kind of makes the break, if you will. So
Yes, I will.
make the break. I like it.
So it's always helpful to find out like your, the longest version of what you would have. So if we did have English muffin cinnamon protein bread, that title is obviously going to break into two lines, whereas 7 grain or wheat might not. So this is the tendency is to make it all look really nice and even, and there's only one line of text, but in actuality there's going to be longer names and there's going to be shorter names. So we want to account for that and make the design scalable to account for that. And you don't have to figure out the exact spacing and the sizing. Again, we want to kind of document things and say, hey, there's going to be long titles, there's going to be short titles. We don't necessarily need to have everything like exactly designed as it's going to be. We just want to make sure that we're teeing up the design to account for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Jay Sadek, the text file doesn't change at the same time. So it's not linked at all. So you do have to drag it in each time you want to use it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Rufus is probably, he's not here with us. What's that? He's in Italy. Yeah, where he lives. How dare he? How dare he go home?
We'll have to make sure we do our live stream from Italy next time.
Somebody was asking about like high DPI and things like that. Somebody was asking about resolution. I'm sorry I missed the whole thing. In fact, let me just switch over. Yeah, so this could be, logo or whatever. But essentially, I've created, these could be my assets. So if I wanted to export this out for those high DPI screens, you can see that we have right down here. We can say, hey, you know what? Ping iOS designed at 1 time, 2 times, or 3 times the size. So that's kind of how I can sort of define the size. If I go into Android, by the way, you have sort of defined the DPI size that you've created it as. Most of these assets are all vector.
Yep.
So in terms of exporting this out, it's just not an issue. And Work it. How to create a custom size artboard? Yeah, it's pretty easy. I'm not on Windows, but the artboard, yeah.
Hit A key and just draw a big artboard.
Hit the A key. That's what I like about you. You know all the shortcuts.
Pinky. A for artboard. You know. You don't have to draw a custom one. You can look at the artboard predetermined sizes. You got Apple iPhone, Watch, Google Android tablet, Android Wear, Surface Pro. And then down here at the bottom you have Web 1280, Web 1366, Web...
And can you draw one out real fast and just to show some of the other properties that you just like? You can draw anything, but just create or select that artboard.
Yeah, so
because I also like, of course, the sizes, but the scrolling, whether it's none or set to vertical.
You make your viewport height.
Yeah, and then we were talking about guides. We don't have guides, but there is grid down there as well, so we can turn on the grid and kind of design with that grid in mind as you start to create your first artboard. So there's not a there's not a responsive design mode in XD. Again, we'd create a prototype and I'd export out all those assets as like SVG, but that's kind of one of the things that would happen during the development phase.
And a lot of times, this is a quick file that shows like how I think about responsive design inside of XD. So this is another project, but just to kind of show you, I always, even if I'm designing a website, I like to design the mobile versions first because it's the smallest constraint, and if you can solve that and make it intelligently layered and interaction, you can makes it a lot easier to scale up into larger sizes. And so you start to think about what might happen when it gets to a medium screen, and roughly at what point would it happen? Would the flow of HTML start to break things over? And so these are all, just kind of showing what could happen. And I would never typically design like every screen responsive. I would design most screens mobile and a few of them responsive, just so the developer has an idea of what is going to start happening, like how things are going to start working. And a lot of times you don't need to design every single screen, every single asset. If you're working with a team up front, you can just show all this stuff, and they can provide input quickly on, if we put the menu here, then we wouldn't have to spend 3 weeks coding custom JavaScript. We could do that in a day. And so a lot of times if you can share this quickly and start thinking about this stuff quickly, it'll just help.
Yeah,
overall.
And the content kind of dictates where the breakdown would be anyways. Like even in that last one, I would assume that more of those images would tile those thumbnails or whatever.
Yep.
It seems like right here you have sort of your landscape for a tablet device is what that looks like.
Yeah, this one is, let's see, that's like 1400. So if I go to like 100%, this one is pretty wide. So that would, you could have a large tablet. So it's whether it's a tablet or a MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
That would be a big screen for that. And then I could also, because I made all these with repeat grid, I could scale this thing down.
Everybody, as soon as you showed this file, people were like, "Hey, can I have it?" You do have assets on your website, so again,
yes,
MDS.
I'm going to get cranking on giving a lot of assets out. So
stick around, free stuff.
Not like right now. I don't have any to give, but I'm going to create some, and I will let you download them. So,
Andy, you can't create custom artboard presets. But I think essentially what you've done is you would create your like a sort of a template file is kind of what you did, and you just like steal from that all the time.
Yeah, a lot of times I would just create some base templates, like here's some input fields, and then I might use that as my starting point for a new project. So here's here's prototype mode on a large screen. So you can see like I made this repeat grid even longer. So I'm scrolling through as if this were a website. And another thing, in artboard mode, you can change your viewport here. So if I wanted to select the artboard and say I want my viewport height to be 800 instead of 667, now when I preview, it'll be a little better.
Well, that's a good question. Like Portugal Design Lab talks about the fonts being safe for all devices.
Yeah, it's definitely something to consider. If you need to know whether or not you're building a native app or you're using iOS specific app fonts, and you can search, I think there's a website, iosfonts.com or something like that. You can see all of the ones that are available for iOS. And if you're designing for Android, a lot of that's going to be, Roboto or some of the material fonts. But then there's also the web languages like Electron, the kind of native wrappers where it's almost like a website inside of a view. And a lot of native apps are being built with Electron and React, and you can use Google Web Fonts. But yeah, it's definitely something you need to check out, the licensing if it's not a Google font.
Mm-hmm.
There's always like app licenses, and you don't want to go 3 months designing with a certain font and then realize that app license is not available. So definitely check into that before you go too far.
Cool. Cool. They say you rock. We got to rock a little bit. We're only going to be rocking for about 5 more minutes.
That's right. I'm going to try to make my choose bread selection here. Let's give this a big old border.
Oh, so you just drew that on top of your repeat grid?
Yes,
element.
I did.
Got it.
And I copied that background shape.
What I think is fun is just watching it change also on the device. I know you can't quite see it, but... Hey, Mike. Cool.
On the GoPro?
Yeah.
There you go.
And again, just to give you guys an idea, whether you're on iOS or Android, he's kind of tweaking this. And it's nice that since it's just connected, via USB, it's like I'm watching this change and just kind of seeing how it looks. You can even kind of see if those areas are maybe too large or too small to select.
Yeah, absolutely.
For
and something like font sizes, again, like you definitely want to check font sizes.
Can you change the color? Or I don't know if you can. I guess if everybody's kind of getting the idea of that it's obviously changing, right? Live, so see how it's just changed to black and pink. You guys get the idea. Cool.
Oh yeah.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, man. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Came from that sketch earlier that we just started about an hour and a half ago. Thank you, Michael. So how many UI UX pieces for a portfolio? Totally up to you. I think when you have a lot of portfolio pieces, it almost... I don't know if you want to show that much work that you have. Sometimes it's like, hopefully you like something that I have. I think if you're really good, you need 10 pieces or less for a portfolio in general. But that's aside from what we're talking about here. Just want to make sure we're answering these questions. You can... Can you connect multiple devices at once?
Good question.
So the XD team is working on the Wi-Fi version.
Okay.
So you can have like 10, 15 devices connected to your XD.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is coming.
Cool. So the answer is it's coming. Fantastic.
Right, so I'm updating my prototype here. I want to show that this next link/button is disabled, and then once we choose one of these breads, we're gonna enable the next button. But I don't want it to slide. I want it to seem like the same screen. And so right now, if I test it, it's sliding over. So what I'm gonna do is go back in here and choose this little arrow. You can either do none or dissolve. Kind of either one of those would work. And that one's going back. This one needs to link back to the... So I don't want this to link to the previous artboard. I want it to link over here because I might actually be coming from there. So it might be a case where you would want to pull it back to that main screen as opposed to doing previous artboard. Because in our prototype, these two screens are going to feel like the same screen.
Yeah.
So now as we choose prototype mode, build a custom sandwich, looking through the bread, choose wheat, you can see the next is ready, go to protein. And so now we can go back, and then we're going to go home, and so it takes us back. And I might want to add a transition on that one. Looks like that one has none. We'll go slide left. Oh, I think that might have been the wrong way. Slide right.
You see. That's interesting.
There we go. Build a custom sandwich, choose wheat, hit next, Oh, let's go back, and then we go back again. There we go.
Man, this is impressive. I mean, considering you just started from nothing, and as we've been pestering you with questions, you've been able to like build out this essentially this wireframe.
It's getting there. We're gonna pick it back up tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think.
Man, I'm getting hungry. All right, guys. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and sign out. Yeah, Matt. How'd you feel, man? Your very first live stream.
Feeling great.
Yeah.
You made me feel so comfortable. I'm
no,
gonna give you all
you're
credit.
the man, because like you're just answering these questions. You're working. I'm like, man, how'd you do? I have to shut down. I got to put me in a dark room to get work done. But I like what you did, and we're gonna continue and pick this up tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
So same time, same place. Again, this is going to be available for on demand. We're signing out. Yay, Matt! You're fantastic.
Thank you, Paul.
We appreciate you. Stick
Thank you,
around.
Michael, behind the
5
scenes.
minutes. Michael, Amelie, right over there, up next. Sweet.